Perfect. Thank you very much, Richard. We've had quite a lot of questions, which is great. So we'll definitely go through those now. And if you've got anything else that you'd like to ask on the back of any of the answers, or anything else that that either Richard hasn't covered or that has sprung to mind about chemistry at Leicester, please do feel free to continue popping them in the chat, as we're obviously keen to make sure they're all answered. So we'll go through them one by one, and I'll hand back over to you with those, Richard. So the first one is around the first year, and it says, do we have to take an exam early in the first year for maths in chemistry at all?
No, so I'll just start again because I think I might have been a bit quick there on the on the handover indeed. No, we do not have a maths exam early in the first year. As you probably already know, we do not expect our students to have maths A level. We will teach you the very little bit of maths A level that is useful and relevant to chemistry throughout our first year, and you will have an exam in January on maths, and you will have an exam in the summer on maths. It's a year-long module, and it's got a little exam in January and a little exam at the end of summer. What we do is we hold a number of core sessions in maths throughout the first year, which are for everybody. It's really important that we keep people who have maths A level, we keep them engaged and help them solve chemistry specific problems using that maths A level. And we also put on extra sessions which are available to everyone, but they tend to be really mainly taken up by students who have no maths A level, these clinics which allow you just to come along and get even more support with that. So there's no maths exam early on. There is a maths module, but please just interpret that as us supporting you with the maths that you're going to need to succeed in the first 2 years of your degree. I'm now a chemistry associate professor. I do not have maths A level, so that's
Perfect. Thank you very much, Richard. We've had another question, which I think is probably for more when students are on the course rather than before the course. So it's what revision resources do you offer, and do you provide anything specific for students?
So in each and every module, we typically will have an exam at the end of the module. So that typically will be, there's a few modules that only run at the start of the semester, so those exams will be at Christmas, but the majority of our exams happen in May. That's my job tomorrow, is marking the second year paper, yay. We have those exams, and I say there's a large amount of coursework, so they don't count for the whole module. We, in terms of revision, you will have been given all of your notes anyway. You will have access to all of the lecture recordings. So if there's anything you didn't quite get first time round, you can go and have a little look at the recording, and you can just dip in. And our students do tend to just dip in 10 minutes here and there. No one's watching a 10-hour box set of heterocyclic chemistry from me. They're just dipping in and getting the bits they needed. You've got the electronic access to the textbook, but we do, just before the exams, hold a number of revision sessions in each module where we'll give you a recap of the course. We'll set you some revision problems which really are probably last year's exam question. You'll get access to the past papers, and we run discussion boards online so that we can build up a bank of students publicly asking us questions about the course in the run up to the exam, and you can see the answers that we provide to your peers. But it's all, of course, anonymously. The only person's post who has a name on it is mine, so that you know that the comments written there is being written by the quote expert. And it's an open door policy as well. You can always bring in your attempt at past papers for us to have a look. There's lots of problem classes, tutorials. There's lots of practice problems gained at helping you prepare for how you answer those exam questions.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Richard. So we also have a question more about the year in industry option, and it's actually quite an operational question. So how does travelling to the year in industry work? Which I imagine is more around, are students expected to kind of either fund that themselves, organise that themselves, and I guess also a broader question about years in industry. Is that something that the department supports with finding, or can students source that themselves as well?
So with the year in industry, we will help you in your application for that. So at the end of your first year, there'll be a seminar for anyone interested in the year in industry, and we will tell you about the process, how we might go about applying for those. We'll get your CV ready, we'll get your cover letters ready, we'll give you a mock interview, and we will do everything we can to ensure your success in applying for that placement. In terms of traveling and all that, when you get the placement, these placements are paid. So you can expect to take home a salary of around £16,000 to £18,000 a year, and that will naturally cover your living expenses, and it will cover your travel expenses as well. You can get a placement anywhere in the world, whether it be Leicestershire, rest of the UK, Europe, or literally the globe. Providing that placement is doing something relevant to a chemistry, you can get any placement you want. We will ping opportunities to you via email, but you're also welcome to pursue your own placements, do your own searches as well. And even this year with coronavirus, we've got about 10 students out on placement, and they're all renting accommodation and travelling, and obviously taking home a salary for doing so.
Brilliant, thank you. And yeah, definitely something to consider if you're interested in kind of that added work experience, I suppose. The next question is around lectures, and it's around where would the lectures take place? What's the plan for lectures to take place, I guess, from kind of September, October time? Is it on the main campus, or do you think it will change? Is there any kind of updates on that?
Okay then, so lectures is a really good question. We can run tutorials on campus, and we're planning on running tutorials on campus next year. We're planning on running problem classes on campus. We're planning on running our labs on campus again. So all of that will be as normal as possible. The only uncertainty we have is the fact that we just don't know what is going to happen with lectures, because the problem is that putting 100 people in a lecture theatre is still a big unknown regarding COVID, and I assume that most people on this call will probably not have been vaccinated yet, thinking of the likely ages that you are, and we don't want to risk your safety by packing you into a lecture theatre until it is safe to do so. But what I will say is that a lecture can happen anywhere. If your lectures are online, they will be specially recorded and prepared for that online setting, so you won't be looking at a capture that we made 2 years ago. It will be specially created for the COVID era, especially created for your cohort. And what will happen is, yes, you might watch your lecture by a video, but we will be putting on extra sessions where you can come onto campus and you can have a live interaction with your lecturer. You can ask all the questions, because to be honest with you, a lecture can happen online or in person. What you need is the opportunity at the end of that lecture to ask questions to your academic. That will be available both live on Teams like we have now, and it will also be available in a face-to-face setting. And what we envisage doing is we can fit 30 students into our lecture theatres, which normally take 108. So we will split the class into 3, and we will run 3 sessions where after you've watched the videos, you can come along. We'll give a recap of that lecture. We will then allow you to ask questions. We will maybe set you some questions. They'll probably be fun questions, multiple choice questions, and we'll go through that. I'm not going to lie to you. Everywhere else you probably go might lie to you and tell you, yeah, lectures will be fine. It's very unlikely with the government advice right now that we'll be able to know what's going to happen in September. But I want you to rest assured that I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what's going to happen. I've just told you what I think will happen. If we're allowed, we would absolutely have you all on campus together. But the main thing is, just like the academic year gone by, you are not going to be shortchanged. You're going to get dedicated material provided to you, and you will be compensated with me teaching you in 3 groups, repeating myself twice to make sure that you get the degree and the education you deserve. Because that's what you deserve, and that's what we're here for. Yeah,
Brilliant, thank you.
Leicester University does not cop out of teaching its students. It never did in the pandemic.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Richard. We've had a few more questions in, which is great. It's great to see so many questions being submitted. So the next one is around the activities run by ChemSoc, and this is more around how compulsory is it? Do you have to attend all activities run by ChemSoc? Is it optional? Is it compulsory? How does that work?
ChemSoc is completely separate to your studies. It's there for you to engage with as much as you want to. ChemSoc is I don't know, so I get free membership for some reason. So I don't know how much for ChemSoc is, but it's about £5 or £6 a year, and you don't have to be a member of ChemSoc if you don't want to. In terms of activities, they do all the things you would expect them to do, which is the bar crawls and the debauchery and all of those sorts of things. But actually, they do a lot more than that. And the bigger part of it, if they do peer mentoring, they will do help for first years with studies. They do quizzes, they do bake sales, they do meals out. There is a netball team, there is a football team, and these are mixed teams. They're open to anybody. We don't have any nonsense where it's restrictive. Our netball team has boys and girls on it. Our football team has boys and girls on it. We did quite well with fresh physics. We were quite happy about that last year. Someone I spoke to earlier is interested in basketball, so absolutely we're going to try and get a basketball team, and you can compete against other departments. It's completely optional, but I'd really encourage you to get involved, because it's a great way of hanging out with people in different year groups in the chemistry course. Like I say, there's mentoring. You can be mentored, or you can be a mentor yourself. There's obviously those sports I mentioned. If you've got a competitive aspect in there, there's bake sales, there's charity events. A couple of years ago, we donated something like 70 Easter eggs to the local children's hospital, and our ChemSoc did all of that and organised all of that for us. And we've rode to the moon and back one day for charity as well. We've done all sorts of fun things in the ChemSoc, and I set the quiz questions, so be prepared to brush up on real ale, trains and fishing, and we have a lot of fun. And each year as well, there's the Chemistry Society ball, where we all get to dress up really nicely and have a nice meal and a civilised evening out. But it's up to you whether you take part in that. You don't have to.
That's great. It sounds a really active society, and actually kind of one of the main pieces of advice we give students all across the kind of higher education sphere is definitely get involved in societies when you're at university. They can really add to the experience, and obviously some of the examples Richard's just given there will hopefully show you how you can also be kind of filling your time when not in tutorials, lectures, seminars, etc. We've got a couple of additional questions, which we'll probably get through, and then we'll almost bring the session to a close. But if you have got any final questions, please still feel free to put them in the chat. That's what we're here for. The first one is around careers, and is there a dedicated chemistry careers fair, or is it more kind of embedded across the year? How does that work?
So yeah, we don't have a dedicated careers fair. There are careers fairs that come onto the university, onto the campus. What we do have is, as you say, embedment in our curricula. We have industry experts come in and run activities within the school curriculum. So last year, for example, we had lectures and activities and games brought to us by AstraZeneca. who I think everybody's now heard about AstraZeneca, but we've got an awful lot of graduates who work for AstraZeneca, and they come back and they will vet your CVs, they will give you advice about the different career paths, and we have a number of companies and a number of partners who come and do that, and your careers tutor can put you in contact with alumni right around the UK in different careers to kind of give you that insider scoop. And people have a good time at Leicester and they want to help other Leicesterites and in their things, so we can always put you in contact with somebody on the inside and get you a little bit of insider information.
Great, thank you, Richard. And actually, there's a kind of a follow-on question which you almost alluded to as well. So, what careers would you say are the kind of most popular to get into after chemistry degrees? Has there been a bit of a shift in recent years? Did it tend to be fairly similar routes, or is it a fairly broad church on that front?
Oh, it's a really broad church. The great thing about a chemistry degree is people like chemists. People like chemists because they're problem solvers, they're intelligent, that sounds awful, doesn't it? They're problem solvers, they're intelligent, they are able to think rationally, they've got good experience of working under pressure, they've got numeracy skills, they will be good at IT, they know how to analyse, collect and present data. And that means that you can work in any matter of careers. Let's have a think about where people are going this year. We've got a lot of people going back to their placements. So there's somebody working at Reckitt Benckiser in Strepsil analysis. Somebody's going back to work in the PR and social media department of a pharmaceutical company. We've got people going into teaching, we've got people going into masters in green chemistry, environmental science, atmospheric science, nuclear science. We've got people going down to London to work in the finance hubs, and then we've got bucket loads of students off to go and work in labs all around the UK, testing, analysing, making. There is no set pathway out of a chemistry degree. And great thing about coming to Leicester and doing your degree is 100% of our graduates have found meaningful, i.e. chemistry degree requiring employment within 6 months of graduating. So my 100 students that will graduate this year, they will all be paying taxes and paying back their student loan and topping up my pension by Christmas.
Thanks, Richard. I think a really good illustration of really where degrees can take you, and not getting too kind of narrow-minded maybe from the start, and keeping as many doors open as you can, and using the opportunities that a university degree and a really active department like yourselves in chemistry can provide. We've had one final question, and I don't know if this is a loaded question or not from someone who may or may not like exams, is how often do you have exams within your department?
So we examine at the end of our modules. So we examine at the end of modules, and each module will have an exam component unless it's a practical module, and we will examine students in January, or we will examine them in June. Typically you will have 2 exams in January and you will have 4 exams in June. And that's it. But those exams aren't the entire module. They are, so I said June, I meant May. Those exams are not the entire module. You will have done a lot of coursework, building credit and confidence beforehand. I should point out that at university, if you fail an exam, you're guaranteed the opportunity to resit it for free. And, we get students through. We will have, out of a class of 100, at least 95 of those students will make it into second year.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And I think that brings us to the end of all of the questions. And it's been a fascinating session. And thank you, everyone in the audience, for all your participation. It's been great to see so many great questions coming in, and hopefully you've been able to find all of the information you've been looking for. I'm just going to pop a quick message in the chat with kind of other links that might be of interest to you over the next few days and weeks. If you do want to book one of those VIP campus tours that we mentioned, then please do hop on the link, the first link that you can see in that message, and that's your offer holder hub, and that'll take you.
So if your tour if you can't get hold of the tour because they are going like hotcakes, please do email me directly using the contact details there, but you can always email Kem at Mish. Always email that address. If you can't get a tour through the HeadStart, it might be that we can hook you up on a one-to-one basis with me, and I will just show you around the building, which is what I'm doing on the tours anyway, and you'll get to see our teaching, our research facilities. There's also a time lapse of the tour route itself on our Instagram and Facebook page, which is at Leicester Chem, and we can we can also put a lot of information on there, and you can see a lot about us. Apologies for that interruption there. Despite the fact I'm busy, somebody tried to call me on Teams and it came up over where I was typing.
No problem at all. No problem. Yeah, as Richard said, there's lots of ways to get in touch. Also, if you'd like to chat to any of our current students, we've got that second link in that kind of main message I've posted is to our chat platform. We've got students from across the world and as well as the UK on there from all our different courses, and including chemistry, and you can kind of filter away based on different things, so you can kind of find the perfect student to chat to. So if you've got any questions that you want to ask directly to one of our students, then again, please feel free to do so. That's what they're here for. I would also say if you're someone that's active on the student room, we've recently launched an offer holder thread on there, so please feel free to post away on there, and our official reps, Ellie and Anita, will be delighted to chat to you, and you can also chat to current students too. And also, just to flag up, we've got a heap load more of HeadStart content coming your way across the next couple of weeks. Particularly, there's lots and lots of live content, both from a subject specific point of view. I believe next week we've got a teaching in a pandemic session from colleagues in the chemistry department.
Yeah, we've got our academic director, Dylan Williams, person who designs all our learning and teaching here at Leicester Chemistry. He's also a RSC prize winner for his teaching. He's a national teaching fellow, and he's a collaborative teaching award holder as well. So it's a really interesting session. Please come along and you'll get more answers about how it is we're going to be teaching our course. In other words, how we're going to teach it better than everywhere else, and how we're going to do more face-to-face than a lot of other places as well.
Yeah, and that'll be the link to that will be on the kind of live lineup carousel within the HeadStart hub. So if on the offer holder hub link that's in that main message I just posted a couple of minutes ago, and there's a link in there through to your HeadStart hub. It'll also be in your weekly email that'll come through on Tuesday next week, because it's Bank Holiday Monday. So please feel free to join that session. And we've also got lots and lots of other sessions across the next couple of weeks, focusing on all things student life as well. So there's fantastic opportunities to get involved, and hopefully that helps you make any decisions you need to on your UCAS form. So that's a big thank you from us. We hope you've enjoyed today's session. Please do feel free to keep getting in touch. That's what we're here for. And we hope you are keeping well, stay safe, and we'll see you all very soon.